Federalism is the system of governance in which a country has more than one level of government. But why is it necessary to have more than one level of government is the main reason to understand the concept of federalism. It is a political principle for pertaining to agreement or coming into union or an act of coming together. The federal principles are the governing principle for and within the state because it develops tendency of different people to come and live together and avoid disputes and accommodate diversity in a multicultural society. Federalism provides a framework for seeking unity and adjustability of regional and social diversity by agreeing upon a set of governing principles between the federal government, that is the central, and the federal unit, that is the state government or the regional government. Federalism promotes unity and not uniformity. It is not merely structural but political ideology, focuses on the nature of system, governance, constitution, and many more aspects of the society. Federalism also promotes democratic pluralism. That means it does not exist single center of power but more than one center of power. A federal government is one in which powers are divided between the national and the regional government by the constitution itself, and both operate in their respective jurisdictions independently, for example in USA, Switzerland, Canada, Russia and Brazil. While in a unitary government, all the power is vested in the national government and the regional government, if exist, derive their authority from the national government. For example, we can say in Britain, in France, Japan, China, and etc. In a federal model, the national government is known as the federal government or the central or the union government, and the regional government is known as the state or the provincial government. The term federation is derived from a Latin word fides, which means treaty or an agreement. Thus, a federation is a new state which is formed through a treaty or an agreement between various units, and these units of a federation are known by different names. For example, states in USA or cantons in Switzerland, or provinces in Canada or republics as in Russia. A federation can be formed in two ways. Firstly, by way of integration, in which a number of militarily weak or economically backward states which are independent come together to form a big and a strong union, for example, the US. And the second way is by way of disintegration, in which a big unitary state is converted into a federation by granting autonomy to the provinces to promote regional interest, for example, Canada. The Constitution of India provides for a federal system of government in the country, and the framers adopted the federal system due to two main reasons. Firstly, the large size of the country, and secondly, its socio-cultural diversity. They realized that the federal system not only ensures the efficient governance of the country, but also reconciles national unity with the regional autonomy. However, the term federation has nowhere been used in the Constitution. Instead, Article 1 of the Constitution describes India as a union of states. The phrase union of states has been preferred to federation of states to indicate two things. Firstly, the Indian Federation is not the result of an agreement among the states like the American Federation. And secondly, the states have no right to secede from the Federation. The Federation is union because it is indestructible. The Indian federal system is based on the Canadian model and not on the American model. The Canadian model differs fundamentally from the American model insofar as it established a very strong center. The Indian Federation resembles the Canadian Federation in its formation by way of disintegration, secondly in its preference to the term union, and thirdly in its centralizing tendency, that is vesting more powers in the center as compared to that of the states. Federalism is much more than a political structure. It provides scope for diversities to coexist, more involvement of citizens, to protect ethnic, religious, linguistic minorities' rights and identities. It consists of democratic constitutional integration of diversities to promote common inclusive ownership and not exclusive by seeking confidence in minorities and ethnic diversities. Therefore, the following are the purposes for having federal feature or federal polity. Firstly, the vertical division of power. That means having more than one level of government, center and the state, but in case of India, we have one more, that is the local government at the grassroots level, known as the panchayats or the municipalities. Therefore, power is decentralized to remove the problem of autocracy. It is not horizontal division of powers, which is called separation of powers between the judiciary, legislative, executive, which is also required for federalism. Federalism promotes national integration, which requires the feeling of togetherness, collectiveness, positive discrimination, which help in nation building. The political system in federalism is inclusive and not exclusive, thus promotes inclusive policy of states to reduce conflicts and promotes stability in the state as a whole. It rejects uniformity but promotes unity in multicultural society, which ultimately prevents ethnic conflicts or civil wars. It makes government more responsive, more interconnected between the citizens and the government at all levels, for the effective implementation of the policies and to achieve efficient administration. It preserves multiple identity and rights and to respond to changing needs and avoid conflicts within the society, which is multicultural, multilingual, multi-religional or multi-regional, like in case of India. The Indian federal system of today has many such characteristics which are essential for a federal polity. The main federal features of the Indian constitution are as follows. Firstly, a dual polity. The Constitution of India establishes a dual polity consisting of the union at the center and the states at the periphery, each possessed with sovereign powers to be exercised in the field assigned to them respectively by the Constitution. The Union government deals with the matters of national importance like defense, foreign affairs, currency, communication, and so on. The state government, on the other hand, look after the matters of the regional and the local importance like public order, agriculture, health, local government, and so on. Secondly, a written constitution. For a federation, it is essential that its constitution should be written so that the units as well as the center can refer to that in need. Accordingly, the constitution is not only a written document but also the lengthiest constitution of the world. Originally, it contained a preamble, 395 articles divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. At present, it consists of a preamble, 465 articles divided into 25 parts and 12 schedules, and therefore fulfills this basic requirement of a federal government. In fact, the Indian constitution is the most elaborate constitution in the world. It specifies the structure, organization, powers, and functions of both the central and the state government and prescribes the limits within which they must operate. Thus, it also avoids the misunderstandings and disagreements between the two. Another feature is division of powers. In a federation, there should be a clear division of power so that the units and the center are required to enact and legislate within their spheres of activity, and none violates its limits. Therefore, the Constitution of India divided the powers between the center and the states in terms of the Union list, state list, and concurrent list in the 7th schedule. The Union list consists of 100 subjects, the state list consists of 61 subjects, and the concurrent list consists 52 subjects. Both the center and the state can make laws on the subjects of the concurrent list, but in case of a conflict, the central law prevails. The residuary subjects, which are not mentioned in any of the three lists, are given to the center. The fourth feature is the supremacy of the Constitution. The constitution is the supreme, or we can say the highest law of the land. The laws enacted by the center and the states must be conformed to its provisions, otherwise, they can be declared invalid by the Supreme Court. It is indeed difficult to put the Indian constitution in the category of federations, even though it had all the main ingredients of a federation. It is in fact a new contrivance designed to meet the special requirements of Indian society. The framers of the constitution have modified the true nature of Indian federalism by incorporating certain non-federal features in the constitution. This has lent support to the contention that the Indian constitution is federal in form but unitary in spirit. So let us examine the unitary features of the Indian constitution in some detail. Strong center. The division of powers is in favor of the center and highly inequitable from the federal angle. Firstly, the union list contains more subjects than the state list. Secondly, the more important subjects have been included in the union list. And thirdly, the center has overriding authority over the concurrent list. Finally, the residuary powers have also been left with the center, while in the US they are vested in the states. Thus, the constitution has made the center very strong. Secondly, states not indestructible. Unlike in other federations, the states in India have no right to territorial integrity. The parliament can unilateral action change the area, boundaries or name of any state. Moreover, it requires only a simple majority and not a special majority. Hence, the Indian Federation is an indestructible union of a destructible states. The American Federation, on the other hand, is described as indestructible union of indestructible states. No equality of state representation. The states are given representation in the Rajya Sabha on the basis of population. Hence, the membership varies from 1 to 31. In US, on the other hand, the principal equality of representation of states in the upper house is fully recognized. Thus, the American Senate has 100 members, 2 from each state, without any discrimination in terms of population. This principle is regarded as the safeguard for smaller states. Emergency provisions. The Constitution stipulates 3 types of emergencies: national, state, and financial. During an emergency, the central government becomes all powerful and the states go into the total control of the center. It converts the federal structure into a unitary one without a formal amendment of the constitution. This kind of transformation is not found in any other federation in the world. Single citizenship. In spite of dual polity, the Constitution of India, like that of Canada, adopted a system of single citizenship. There is only Indian citizenship and no separate state citizenship. All citizens, irrespective of the state in which they are born or reside, enjoy the same rights all over the country. The other federal states like US, Switzerland, and Australia have dual citizenship, that is national as well as the state citizenship. Integrated judiciary. The Indian Constitution has established an integrated judicial system with the Supreme Court at the top and the state high courts below it. The single system of courts enforces both the central laws as well as the state laws. In US, on the other hand, there is a double system of courts whereby the federal laws are enforced by the federal judiciary and the state laws are enforced by the state judiciary itself. All India services. In US, the federal government and the state government have their separate public services. In India also, the center and the states have their separate public services. But in addition, there are all India services like IAS, IPS and IFS, which are common to both the center and the states. The members of these services are recruited and trained by the center, which also possesses ultimate control over them. Thus, these services violate the principle of federalism under the Constitution. Parliament's authority over the state list. Even in the limited sphere of authority allotted to the states, they do not have exclusive control. The Parliament is empowered to legislate on any subject of the state list if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution to that effect in the national interest. This means the legislative competence of the Parliament can be extended without amending the constitution. And notably, this can be done when there is no emergency of any kind. Appointment of governor. The governor, who is the head of the state, is appointed by the president. He holds the office during the pleasure of the president, and he also acts as an agent of the center. Through him, the center exercises control over the states. It is clear that the Constitution of India has deviated from the traditional federal features like US, Switzerland, and Australia and incorporated a large number of unitary or non-federal features, tilting the balance of power in favor of the center. This has prompted the constitutional experts to challenge the federal character of the Indian Constitution. Thus, K.C. Weir remarked, "The Constitution of India is quasi-federal." He said that the Indian Union is a unitary state with subsidiary federal features rather than a federal state with subsidiary unitary features. Ivor Jennings has described it as a federation with a strong centralizing tendency. He observed that the Indian Constitution is mainly federal, with unique safeguards for enforcing national unity and growth. Granville Austin called the Indian federalism as a cooperative federalism. He said that though the Constitution of India has created a strong central government, it has not made the state governments weak and has not reduced them to the level of administrative agencies for the execution of policies of the central government. He described the policies of the central and the Indian Federation as a new kind of federation to meet India's peculiar need. Let's discuss this question. In which case Supreme Court held that the Indian Constitution is federal? The options are case of Nanda Bharati case, Golaknath case, Bommai case or Minerva Mills case. The right answer is Bommai case, which held in 1994. The Supreme Court laid down that the Constitution is federal and characterized federalism as its basic feature. It observed the fact that under the scheme of our Constitution, greater power is conferred upon the center, but it does not mean that the states are mere appendages of the center. The states have an independent constitutional existence and they are not satellites or agents of center. Within the sphere allotted to them, the states are supreme.